And welcome to Hero Power. I am your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? I'm so excited. This is Hero Power's last episode before Saviors of Uldum comes out. So awesome! I'm excited. Yeah, let's go.
I am glad you specified that because if somebody was driving in the car, I would have hate for them to swerve off the road and have an accident.
So many people are already halfway through their tweet. Oh! False alarm! False
Yeah.
alarm!
All right. We got just a little bit of news to talk about today, and then the rest of the Saviors of Uldum cards were dumped this week, and so we're going to kind of move through those pretty quickly and give you our thoughts on some of those. And that's pretty much the show for this week. So, all right. First up in the news.
And this is big news.
This is kind of big news, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Blizzard announced this week that they are remixing the format for Grandmasters.
hmm
They are retiring Specialist and replacing it with a best of three Conquest featuring a shield phase. Now,
Yes.
I thought this was kind of cool. So, what exactly is a shield phase and how does that work, Zerotio?
So basically, it's what a lot of formats called a pick and ban stage. So basically, you're going to bring four decks, and this is what I really like. You're bringing four decks in a best of three. You get to pick one deck that cannot be banned. Then, out of the remaining three decks, your opponent picks a ban. So the reason I like this is it kind of does what Specialist does, where specific class, champions, players that are really known for a specific class, like say Fibonacci, can feel safe bringing a warrior to a conquest format and know he can still play it because he can pick it and shield it, so he'll still be able to pick it. So it allows the excitement of seeing those pro players play their best classes and their best decks, but at the same time allowing some wiggle room for players to ban something that might find a weakness. Furthermore, since this is bringing four decks and you only have to win two, out of the three remaining decks, you have the deck that you know you're good at because you shielded it, and then two other decks. You can bring a very flexible lineup knowing that one of those decks you don't really have to play with. So you can either bring a really off-the-wall deck that people are going to have a hard time countering, or like an OTK deck or something like that, or you can bring a deck that specifically counters a specific deck. And in that case, you may want to bring two of those type that counters two different types of decks, so that if they ban one, there's another one available. And if you don't need it, you just don't play it. So that's another piece of this that I really like. To me, it's not as important that we are changing the format. It's the more important part is that they are willing to change the format. They're also adding a lot of quality of life changes in the Grandmaster Season 2. Now, mind you, this is all changes for Grandmasters, not the Masters Tour. They're going to be playing less games per week. There's just the players just found it kind of grueling and very restrictive. The amount of time that they had to set aside to play was impeding their regular everyday life, whether they were a streamer or just had a family or a job or anything like that. It was just impeding in their life too much, and they cut back on that a little. It's still going to be enough to be enjoyable and watch. They're just making it better for the players, which is really good. We don't have something like a players union like professional sports do. Who knows? One day we might, but this is good. Now, finally, there are no changes currently to the Masters Tour. However, they are monitoring it with the recent changes to the Grandmasters, and they may make the same changes to the Masters Tour, but they haven't decided yet.
All right. So there you go. I think it's good. I agree. I think the fact that they were willing to change, and they said, at the beginning of season one that if it didn't work out, then they would reevaluate between seasons one and two, and they've done that. And I think that's good for everybody.
And I will be honest, I was very hesitant and tentative whether they could find a format between Conquest slash Last Hero Standing, which is so similar in a format that there might as well be the same,
Mhm.
and then uh, specialists. Like, is there really a middle ground? And I didn't think of the shield phase. Now I did think of a band pick phase, but I didn't think about allowing the pick to happen first, allowing your specific mage specialist or your priest specialist like Zedalot or warrior specialist like Fibonacci to guarantee they can play the deck. Now, that's not just for the player, that's for the viewer too, because if I see Fibonacci in a tournament, I don't want to see his warrior banned every single time. I
Yeah.
want to see him play that warrior. And I think that's what Specialist was designed to do. It just didn't hit the mark.
No, specialist kind of roped everybody into one of two classes. They were either
Yeah.
playing rogue or they were playing mage, and there was no real in between. We saw a few other classes, but I mean, for the most part, everybody was playing the same thing, and it got real boring real fast. And I'll be honest, from a viewer standpoint, I was not at all excited to watch Specialist, and by about week 2 or 3 of season one, I was just done. I didn't watch anymore, and
Yeah.
now we're going to be able to see everybody bring 4 separate classes, so that's going to really uh, broaden the classes that are being played, and it's going to be, if you ask me personally, I think it's going to be a lot more fun to spectate.
I do want to say though that I'm glad they did this specialist format. I'm glad they tested it out because now we know what fails. Now
Yeah.
we know what not to do. We have a low mark. Before we had high marks, but we didn't know how. We didn't know what was bad. We knew what we didn't necessarily like or whatnot, but we didn't know it was a bad idea. Now we know exactly where the benchmark is for a bad idea, and we don't cross it anymore. Obviously, people have talked about, well, what if we did a one deck format? What if we did a one deck format to mirror Magic the Gathering? Well, now we know that idea just does not work in Hearthstone, and
Right.
that to me is a win. That is a success story through failure that we can carry forward and make Hearthstone esports better. Now,
Yeah.
as a player, I like Specialist, but as a viewer, I'll be honest, I was bored with Specialist.
Yeah.
I just was tired of watching it.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, Saviors of Doom releases this Tuesday.
Yeah, if you're listening on a download, that's tomorrow,
That's
guys.
tomorrow. Yeah. So I really liked what Blizzard did for this release. They had some theory crafting streams, and they
Yeah.
allowed select streamers to get early access to the set and be able to theory craft new decks. And one of the things I really enjoyed about it was it wasn't just the big name streamers. They had a lot of diverse Hearthstone streamers doing this, and it was awesome.
Yeah, see, when I first saw this, they had 6 streamers listed, and I was like, okay. Now, I like the streamers that were there. Regis Kilbin was one of them. Ali Straza. Vigil is a fairly new Hearthstone streamer that's, I forget the name of the band, but he's in a band. He's in a nationally recognized touring band, and also streams Hearthstone. So it's really cool that they brought some diversity. I was like, we got 6 people. Well, I didn't realize they brought 6 people to Blizzard headquarters in Anaheim. They allowed for, I don't even know how many. It had to have been at least 20 other streamers from their home to log into this special network that they basically set up an account in their name with a full collection of gold cards to make everything. And you had Crip, you had Brian Kibler from his house, you actually had friend of the show, Pear. She actually got access to this theory crafting, and they also did it on the European side and brought 6 players to which one of them was Tice, to Paris at the headquarters in Paris. So it was really, really, really cool. They had a lot of diversity. If I got into all the decks and theory crafting, we'd be here for another 2 hours. So I'm not going to get into that. We'll start talking about those in the next couple weeks when we have more access to the cards. But it was really a lot of fun. Some of them try-hearted. Some of them, just tried to get the various combos to happen. Whether they won with the deck or not didn't matter. And a lot of them got some one-on-one time with devs. Regis Kilbin got to have Mike Dene on the show.
Isn't Mike Dene your favorite dev?
And Mike Dene is my favorite developer in Hearthstone. He is my favorite employee for Blizzard. And if he wasn't, he is now. It was really cool. So story, I'm going to talk about this, and you're going to hear this probably for the next 200 episodes. Mike Dene, for some reason, he was just chattering with Regis, and he asked Regis, "Hey, who's your favorite person in your chat, in your community?" And he was like, of course, Regis is not going to answer that, straight. And he was like, "Well, I have to say my parents. They watch the show. He pointed them out in chat and all this." And Mike Dene, right off the cuff, of course, at the same time, myself and a bunch of others are saying, "Pick me in chat," because I've been a sub to Regis Kilbin for 23 months now, almost 2 years. So I've been there for a while, and I've met Regis, and he's a really good guy. And hopefully we can, communicate more in the future, because he's just great for the community. But Mike Dene said, "Well, my favorite is Zerotio." I don't know what prompted it. And he said my name right, which is really confusing. I don't know. Mike Dene, if you're a listener to the show, please, tweet me something. I just want to know if you listen. Not shooting for an interview or nothing. I just want to know if you listen. If you do, that's awesome. But he said I was his favorite. Of course, I quickly went to clip that moment, which I did. And meanwhile, my Twitter was literally blowing up from other people hearing it. And then Regis actually has a guy that during certain games, and this was a game he wanted to note, he's capturing them and putting them on YouTube. So within like 30 minutes, that video is on YouTube, and that has that clip of Mike Dene calling me his favorite. So it's really, really cool. Follow me on Twitter at Zerotio. I've linked both of those, the video and the clip. It's a ton of fun. I'm starstruck, and if you think I'm never going to mention it again, you're dead wrong.
Yeah, they don't know you if they think you're not going to mention it.
Now you mentioned you like this, so that brings a question. As a player reviewer, do we like this? A lot of people in the community were a little upset because players got early access to it, but myself, as a Legend player and a viewer, I actually like this because this allowed me to see into the minds of some of these streamers and maybe get an idea if some of these combos I'm seeing with these cards are even worth my time. The Mogu Cultist one I really wanted to try out, but honestly, it's probably going lower on my list because it's really difficult to pull off. And once you pull it off, you're not even guaranteed to win the game. So many times the combo got pulled off, they did the 20 damage to the board, and then they lost the next turn. So I liked that I got to see into Tice's mind, Regis's mind, Slissa, Ali Straza, all these really good deck builders and players, and be able to see what I can do with this set. What do you think?
I loved these theory crafting streams. They were so much fun, and Blizzard gave each of the streamers bundles to give away too, which I thought was really freaking cool because in the past they've always given a few here or there to certain people to give away, but no, they gave every single one of these streamers anywhere between 1 and 5 of these pre-order bundles to give away on their streams while people were watching them do the theory crafting, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good way to get people excited about the set, and I hope they do this for future expansions.
Yeah. This it just gives me hope that they are doing more with the community, and that's just awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, that pretty much covers the news this week. I guess now we get to look at more cards.
Now, real quick, if you all are interested in that tweet, I pinned it to the top of my profile, and I'll add a link to that tweet in the show notes,
Yeah. So,
so
all
everybody
right.
can hear it over and over and over again.
Yep. So, all right. Let's look at some more Saviors of Uldum cards. Let's see here. First up, the Crystal Merchant. It's a Druid Epic, 2 mana, 1/4. If you have any unspent mana at the end of your turn, draw a card.
It's a good card. Anything that draws you a card early is solid. And when it comes with the body, we're finding the one that draws you a card for having the it's like the something explorer that having a quest active is really strong right now. So this will be. I don't think it's as strong, but it's solid.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have the Garden Gnome. It is a Druid rare. 4 mana, 2/3, Battle Cry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, summon 2/2/2 Trance.
So this is similar to the Hyena Alpha that they also printed for Hunter, but I don't think it's as good because right now 5-cost spells are not premium in Druid. Now, it seems like it would go in a token-based strategy, but then again, why do you want 5-cost spells in your hand in a token-based strategy? So I don't like it, but there may be room to play with it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. All right. Worthy Expedition. It is a common Druid spell, 1 mana, discover a choose 1 card. I like this card a lot. This will go really good in even a wild, like, anything with Fandral or
Yeah.
so.
This card is just good, and it's amazing in Quest Druid.
Yep. All right. Oasis Surger. It's a 5 mana common Druid minion. It's an elemental. And it's a 3/3 with Rush. Choose 1, gain +2/+2, or summon a copy of this minion.
So the quest makes you lose tempo in Druid. You have to end 4 turns with available mana, and you lose a ton of tempo. This card almost single-handedly brings that tempo back. It's amazing having 2 5/5s with Rush on turn for 5 mana. It's just sick.
How are you getting 2 5/5s?
Because you finish the quest and both of your choose ones happen.
Okay.
So once you finish the quest, which so far in testing the theory crafting videos, they've been able to finish them on turn 4 with the coin or turn 5. So it is likely to finish it really soon. And then Oasis Surger, you play it, it gets the 2/2/2 first, then it summons a copy, so you get 2 5/5s with Rush. It's amazing. The tempo you get from it makes up for the quest.
Yeah, now I know I heard Mike Donay say that they were shooting for people to be able to finish the quests by turn 4 or 5. That's why they're designed the way they are.
To finish the Druid quest by turn 4 or 5. Okay. Not all quests, because obviously with the Warlock quest, there's no way you can finish that by turn 4 or 5.
Yeah. All right, so we have the Hunter Legendary quest. It's called Unseal the Vault. Of course, it's 1 mana. Quest, summon 20 minions. Your reward is Ramekin Roar. Ramekin Roar is a hero power for 2 mana. Give your minions +2 attack.
Worst quest ever. To channel my inner comic book guy. This is just bad. I mean, the effect is really, really good. I mean, basically, you're getting a Savage Roar for 2 mana every turn. But to summon 20 minions is really difficult. And honestly, by the time you do finish this quest, you don't have any minions to summon to then give +2 attack. Those minions have to have stuck on the board, and they're not going to.
That's
so this is probably the worst quest in the entire set.
Okay. Next up, we have a Hunter Rare spell, Swarm of Locusts. 6 mana, summon 7/1/1 locusts with Rush.
So, I did the Fireside Brawl, the pre-release brawl this weekend, and this card is really good when the cost is reduced to even 5 or below. At 6, it's a little heavy-handed. By 6, there's not really a board of minions you want to deal with. Also, it's really good with that 2-mana spell that brings back all beasts that died this turn. I think there's a place for it. It's an okay card, but I don't think it goes in every Hunter deck. I think it goes in specific type, maybe that Quest Hunter, which is probably not going to be a good deck.
Right. Okay, next up we have a Hunter Rare card, the Ramekin Wild Tamer. 3 mana, 4/3, Battle Cry, copy a random beast in your hand.
I think this is a similar thing to the last card where it goes in a specific type of deck. I mean, 3 mana for 4/3 is not bad. It's actually good aggressive stats. However, copying a random beast in your hand, you'll have to limit the beasts that you play. And whenever you limit the beasts you play in Hunter, it doesn't make for a really good flow of gameplay. You kind of have spiky wins because you hit it one game and then you didn't the next. And I just don't think it's that good of a card. Plus, the minions you want to copy are probably expensive anyways. You're not going to play 2 in one turn.
Yeah. Okay. Hyena Alpha. It's a rare Hunter minion. 4 mana, 3/3, Battle Cry. If you control a secret, summon 2/2 hyenas. Now, I watched some of those theory crafting streams. Everybody was running this card.
This card is amazing with a capital This is just, I mean, it's a 4 mana 7/7. Dice kept saying, "Oh, I'll drop the 4 mana 7/7, 4 mana 7/7," because it is. It's 7/7 worth of stats, yeah. And all you have to have is a secret in play. And if you play Rat Trap, your opponents are going to do everything they can not to play 3 cards because they don't want to prop the Rat Trap. So you're going to have a secret in play. This is great.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next up we have a Mage Rare minion, the Naga Sandwich. 5 mana, 5/5, Battle Cry. Change the cost of spells in your hand to 5.
So this card is somebody's gonna break it. It has the potential of needing to eventually be nerfed like the other Naga Sea Witch. I don't think it necessarily will. There's a lot of people playing around with the idea of a big spell mage again, using a legendary, I don't think we've talked about him yet, that summons a minion for the cost of every spell in your hand. So they're going to run Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron is what everybody's doing. Personally, I haven't seen any theory craftings using Pyroblast, because you can have 2 Pyroblasts in your hand, you'll get 2 10 cost minions. Mm-hmm. And then you play Naga Sandwich, and you can throw 2 Pyroblasts for 10 mana to your opponent's face for 20 damage.
Yep.
Now, that's slow, and whether you put it with a free shell or what to make it happen, I don't know. But I think Mage has the drawing it needs and the card generation it needs to last that long. And then literally you play the Naga Sandwich, and if your opponent's under 20 health, which usually with Mage that can happen, you just Just dome them.
All right. Next up, we have another rare mage minion, the Dune Sculptor. It's a 3-mana 3/3. After you cast a spell, add a random mage minion to your hand.
I just maybe the deck you want to put this in is a Mana Cyclone deck, but you're already filling your hands with a bunch of spells, so you're going to have hand size issues.
So,
I just don't like it.
I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm just assuming that the random mage minion will only be something that is available in standard, or is it all mage minions?
It is anything in standard. Obviously, if you play it in wild, it will be all mage minions. Mm-hmm. But if you play it in standard, it doesn't say from the past or anything like Toki Time King does.
Okay. Next up, we have the new Mage Secret. It's a 3-mana Flame Ward. After a minion attacks your hero, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions.
So when I first saw this, I thought, oh my gosh, this is an even better explosive trap. It's amazing. And then I reread it again and realized that it's after a minion attacks your hero. So unlike explosive trap, this will not save you from a Leroy Jenkins.
Correct.
Because the minion attacks, does the damage to your face, and then the damage goes off. Now, it will allow you to be saved from like a Leroy Shadow Step or Leroy with that weapon that bounces it back or anything like that. But it's not as strong as, say, an explosive trap. So it's still a good secret, and something they have to play around. But originally, I thought this was bonkers good. Now I just think it's a solid card.
Yeah. Okay. We have a common mage spell, Ancient Mysteries. It's 2 mana. Draw a secret from your deck. It costs 0.
This is sick. Mana Cyclone's going to love it. Just a Secret Mage is going to love it. You could probably play this instead of running the 4/3 that lets you play your secret for 0, or maybe run it with it. I don't know. It's good solid card.
We have a Paladin rare spell, Pharaoh's Blessing, 6 mana. Give a minion +4/+4, Divine Shield, and Taunt.
This is bad. There may be some Spirit of the Tiger shenanigans, but really that's too slow. It's just a bad card.
Okay. Subdue. This is a common Paladin spell. 2 mana. Set a minion's attack and health to 1.
So I like this effect, but you usually don't necessarily need this effect really early. A lot of times you don't need this effect until turn 5 or 6. And honestly, I'd rather just play Shrink Ray. Now, maybe I'm playing in a world that I don't want to affect my minions, and you're worried about single target implications. So I think it has application problems, but it's a good card.
Okay. Next up, we have a common Paladin minion, the Ancestral Guardian. It's a 4 mana 4/2. Lifesteal, and Reborn.
So I didn't really like this card because I just thought, they're just going to easily clear it and whatnot, and you don't really have a chance to get the lifesteal. But if the meta sticks to a board-based strategy, this actually is really good and can get you the healing you need to sustain through the rest of the game. I think it goes in a mid-range deck, and the theory crafting streams use this pretty good. I liked it.
Okay. Next up, we have the Priest quest. Activate the Obelisk. It's 1 mana quest. Restore 15 health. Reward Obelisk's Eye. And, of course, that's a 2 mana hero power. Restore 3 health. If you target a minion, also give it +3/+3.
So I think this is probably one of the best 3 quests in the set. It's really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I saw some really crazy shenanigans going on with this in the crafting streams. Um, I mean, you can just make things really, really big, really, really fast with this, and it changes your hero power from healing for 2 to healing for 3. So, I mean, it's just it's so good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
All right. We have a rare priest spell, Holy Ripple. 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all enemies, restore 1 health to all friendly characters.
I'm not a fan of Holy Ripple. I prefer Fudge Ripple. Holy Ripple just doesn't have a good flavor to me. There we go. There we go. Man, I got a whole face cover.
Oh.
No, this is a good card. I mean, if board flooding decks keep happening, Murloc Shaman, Token Druid, this can clear a substantial amount of minions, and furthermore, gives you healing towards your quest. I like it.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare priest minion, the Wretched Reclaimer. It's a 3 mana 3/3 battle cry. Destroy a friendly minion, then return it to life with full health.
So, a lot of people were down on this card, and I didn't see a lot of applications that it would be perfect. Obviously, you can have a reborn minion, it dies, it brings back the reborn minion. You can kill it again and restore it to full, so it's not at 1 health. The application I thought of was Shadow Madness. I think I got the card right. It's the one where you 4 mana, you take control of a minion, your opponent's minion that's 3 attack or less.
Mm-hmm.
And then you attack with it, whatever you got to do, and then you can Wretched Reclaimer it. It dies, comes back, and you get to keep it.
Right. That's actually a pretty good use.
So maybe in a control style where you couple it with that, and maybe some reborn minions have a multi-use with it. I like that idea.
Okay. Next up, we have a common priest minion, the Sandhoof Waterbearer. It's a 5 mana 5/5. At the end of your turn, restore 5 health to a damaged friendly character. Now this is the one Mike Donay on stream called Ragnaros Light Lord Light, basically.
I want him to scream water insects, because he's handing out water. I like this. I mean, 5 mana for a 5/5 is good, and basically having the rag effect, or what was the other one? It's the 0/5 for 2, but this has a body with it. Mm-hmm. This is just good. I mean, and it gets you towards your quest. It allows for a board-centric priest to thrive. I like it.
Okay. Next up, we have a common priest spell, Embalming Ritual. 1 mana, give a minion reborn.
So, this is a shenanigans card. Crazy stuff's going to happen with this one. What is Xerxes, or the 5 mana 5/5 legendary that if you've targeted it with a spell, when it dies,
oh yeah, it comes back.
It comes back. So you hit it with Embalming Ritual, then when it dies, it comes back as a 5/1 with a death rattle, the same death rattle effect. Then it comes back again as a 5/5 because you targeted it with a spell.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Shenanigans will be had.
Yeah.
Alright, next up we have a common priest spell, Penance. 2 mana, lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion.
This is just solid. I mean, this is a better Frostbolt.
Yes.
Great.
Alright, next up we have the Rogue Quest. It is a Bizarre Burglary quest. Add 4 cards from other classes to your hand. Reward Ancient Blades. So Ancient Blades is a 2-mana hero power. Equip a 3/2 blade with immune while attacking. And that is known as the Mirage Blade. It is a 3/2. Your hero is immune while attacking.
Yeah, I like this card. I mean, if they would have just printed the Mirage Blade, it'd be played in every single deck. But I don't think this quest really promotes the type of gameplay you'd want to use this dagger for. Obviously, you can complete it really quick. There's some other new spells and stuff that come out we'll talk about that just is sick. I don't think the deck that it works best in is a good deck.
So I guess you say it's easy to complete, but like if you're playing against another rogue,
Doesn't matter. They've changed a lot of those cards to
any class,
you get a card from any class, not just your opponent's class. They actually changed Pilfer, which is the 1-mana basic card they added to the basic set. When they first added it, it added opponent's class. Now it says any class. Okay. So it's more likely it's going to happen now.
Gotcha. All right. Moving on. We have a rogue epic spell, Shadow of Death. 4 mana, choose a minion, shuffle 3 shadows into your deck that summon a copy when drawn.
So I'll be remiss if I don't at least mention that Matt at Arms pointed out this is what Valera Death Knight warned us about every time she came into play. This card has lots and lots and lots and lots of potential. I've seen it used with a lot of really good minions. There is a in the theory crafting they have the 9 mana. I think we talked about last week. 9/7 that has the death rattle. Give your minions in your hand +3/+3. Well, they reduced the cost down to 1 with the rogue legendary, and then play it and then put Shadow of Death on it, so that anytime you draw those shadows, it summons a 9/7 with a sick death rattle. So this has some great potential in a death rattle style rogue. Obviously, there's implications with the Mogul Cultist. There's implications not with Pogo Rogue. People thought it might work with Pogo Rogue, but Pogo Rogue doesn't work because it's a battle cry. But there's still a lot of really good applications with this. I think you're going to see this is probably going to be one of the most played epics in the set because people are just going to mess with it.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare rogue minion, Saket Sapper. 4 mana, 4/4, death rattle. Return a random enemy minion to your opponent's hand.
I just think it's bad.
I mean, yeah, if they fill the board, and we're already talking about it being a board-centric set, so if they have a board full of minions,
if they have a board full of minions, you're going to lose anyways.
Yeah.
And if they don't have a board full of minions, they just trade efficiently, so they clear off all their minions. I just the fact that it's a death rattle, it's not going to happen the way you want. It's going to happen the way your opponent wants.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a common rogue spell, Clever Disguise. 2 mana, add 2 random spells from another class to your hand.
This is the card that makes a rogue quest able to complete so fast. 2 mana, you get two ticks on your quest. While the quest I don't think is very good, this card is amazing. Because not only are you getting 2 ticks on the quest, if you're playing the quest, if you're not playing the quest, this is just 2 more tools that you can use to empower other cards that you have in the Burgle Rogue. It's just a really, really, really good card.
Okay. We have a common rogue minion, the Pharaoh Cat. 1 mana, 1/2, battle cry, add a random reborn minion to your hand.
I liked this card when I first saw it, but as I've seen more reborn minions, there's a lot of bad reborn minions. So I just don't think it's good because the reborn pool is so watered down with bad cards.
Okay.
I mean, 1 mana 1/2 still a solid early body.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. Next up, we have a legendary shaman minion, Vecina, 4 mana, 2/6. While you're overloaded, your other minions have +2 attack.
This has potential. I just don't think minions stick on the board this meta. And you'd really have to solidify a solid board. And if people are playing around things like Bloodlust, they're going to play around Vecina.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare shaman minion, the Mogu Flesh Shaper. 7 mana, 3/4, rush, costs 1 less for each minion on the battlefield.
I like the effect. Obviously, Sea Giant is worthy. But at 7 mana, you have to have 4 minions on the board, the total board, counting your opponents, just to make this a valued minion, a 3 mana 3/4. So I just really don't see a place where you put this in a deck because it just takes too much to get good value from it. And then what do you get? A 3/4 that rushes?
Okay. Next up, we have a common shaman spell, Totemic Surge. 0 mana, give your totem +2 attack.
Love this card, great card, but not enough to make Totem Shaman be a deck yet. There's just none. If you in Wild, maybe we can have a Totem Shaman because we pull all the totem things they put in over the past 5 years. But unfortunately, there isn't enough in the current standard block to allow for a Totem Shaman.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a common shaman minion, the Sandstorm Elemental. It's a 2 mana 2/2 battle cry. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Overload 1.
It's good. This reminds me of Maelstrom Portal if it just came with a 2/2 body instead of a 1-cost minion. I like it.
Okay. Next up, we have a Warlock common spell, Sinister Deal. 1 mana, discover a lackey.
Not bad if you're playing a lackey-based zoo. I think Crypt made a Warlock Mecha Zoo where it was basically a lackey-based zoo where it's all about managing the board and all that. But his thing is that Zoo's missing that final punch. So he just put Mechathune in there. And it works. You reduce the Mechathune by 1 with Galvanizer, and then you play Mechathune once all the stuff's exhausted out of your deck in hand. You play it with Plague of Flames, and you win the game.
Okay. Next up is a common Warlock minion, the Neferset Thrasher. 3 mana, 4/5. Whenever this attacks, deal 3 damage to your hero.
Card is so good. I mean, you're basically in a zoo-based deck. You're trading 3 damage to your face to 4 to your opponents. They're going to have to deal with a 4/5 somehow on 3. And yeah, I think in a zoo deck, this is an amazing card.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare warrior minion, the Tomb Warden. 8 mana, 3/6, taunt, battle cry, summon a copy of this minion.
So a lot of your theory crafters were trying out Taunt Warriors. And it has a lot of potential. It's missing a little bit here and there, but all of them played this in some way, and I like it. Once you get him buffed up to ridiculous numbers, he's like a jacked up Serenite Chain Gang, or he's like an even better Veclor. If you remember Veclor from the Cthulhu days, when you had your Cthulhu decks from Old Gods, which was the Old Gods. Just a really, really good taunt minion that doubles itself. It's just gonna be hard. Obviously, Hex doesn't deal with it. Polymorph doesn't deal with it. Silence doesn't deal with it. They have to have 2 forms of removal.
Okay. Next up, the Common Warrior Minion Armored Goon. 6 mana, 6/7. Whenever your hero attacks, gain 5 armor.
So if Quest Warrior was going to be a thing, which I don't think it will, this card seems like a really good fit into it. However, I think it's just too slow. And honestly, if you're swinging your weapon that much, you're really wanting to just kill your opponent. Maybe it helps you last. I'm not sure. I think on 6 mana you want to do something else as well as swing your weapon.
Okay. Next up is neutral legendary Zephrys the Great. 2 mana, 3/2, battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, wish for the perfect card. Now, I saw this card played a lot, specifically by Tice.
Yes.
And the mechanics behind this card are just ridiculous.
Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah. So tell us about it.
So this is a card we could talk about for an hour, but I'm gonna try to keep it brief. What this does is it uses the game's AI to figure out what you need. So the way it was explained by Mike Danae and also by Peter Whalen was it looks at everything both players can see. So it looks at board state, deck size, hand size, and amount of remaining mana. It doesn't take into account what you already have in your hand and, of course, what your opponent has in their hand. So it looks at what the board state is and tries to give you what you think you need. And there were many situations where the players, whether it be Regis Kilbin or Tice, was like, I need a Flame Strike. So they traded accordingly, so everything's under 4. They made sure they had exactly 7 mana, and then they played it. And it, sure enough, gave them Flame Strike. It also will give you any card from the classic and basic set only, and any class. It doesn't limit it just to your class. So you can get a Flame Strike in Hunter or in Paladin. You can get it from any class, which raises the value of this. Obviously, the pool is smaller because it's only classic and basic set. Now, Tice had a few times where he tried to manipulate it to give him something like Mass Dispel, and it didn't seem to do that. I don't know if it looks at what type of minions. Well, I guess it does look at what type of minions because it gave him the crab that eats Murlocs a lot because the opponent had a Murloc out. So there are ways to manipulate it, but it's not perfect. He never could get it to give him Mass Dispel, but it gave him plenty of removal. And there was one situation that Tice basically set it up so that he was way ahead in health. So he attacked his opponent and put him at 9 health, played Zephrys, hoping to get a Pyroblast. Now, mind you, he only has 8 mana left. He doesn't have 10. But he was hoping that it was smart enough to know that he wanted a Pyroblast next turn. And sure enough, it gave him a Pyroblast. Actually, he had that situation twice, and both times it gave him a Pyroblast. So it is smart enough to know that you want to set up a 2-turn lethal. So I really like this card. I really think it's going to go in a majority of decks. I think everybody... I don't know if it'll go in aggro decks. Though, then again, in an aggro deck, it might give you the buffs you need to go face. I don't know. So maybe it does go in every deck. I think this is going to be the most played with legendary, and it might go in as many decks as Ziliax does.
Yeah. Like I said, I watch this card get played a lot, and I love the way it works. I like the whole concept of the card. I think this is a fantastic card. So, all right, moving on, we have Siamat, 7 mana, 6/6, battle cry, gain 2 of Rush, Taunt, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. Your choice.
So I actually played with this in the Brawl this weekend, and what happens is you get all 4 Discover choices. Then when you pick one, you get 3 Discover choices with what you didn't pick. So it's actually just a solid 7 mana 6/6 body is good. Tuck tuck rush on it with Wind Fury to clear 2 minions, or Taunt and Divine Shield to protect your face. It's just a nice solid late game minion. Um, Unfortunately, it doesn't get any synergies with things like grabbing minions that have Rush, Taunt, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury because it comes off a Battle Cry. So it won't work with things like that. It won't bring back or buff it or anything like that. It treats it like a vanilla 6/6 for those situations. But it's really just a good minion. You don't want to see it off of like a random effect like a Conjurer's Calling, because then you just get a 7 mana 6/6, which is better than a lot of 7 manas, but it's still not ideal.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have another neutral legendary, King Phaoris. 10 mana, 5/5, Battle Cry. For each spell in your hand, summon a random minion of the same cost.
So this is the card I talked about with the Naga Sandwich. I laugh every time I hear say that name. But the Naga Sandwich deck would play this. If you play this with Puzzle Box in your hand or Pyroblast in your hand, you're getting 10 cost minions. Now, at the same time, it's watering down the 10 cost mana pool with a 5/5 for Conjurer's Calling effects, which I really like when they do things like this. They make other effects that summon random minions at certain cost less valuable, but it's a good card, like something like this. So I like this card. I don't know if I'll personally be playing with it. If I open it, I'll probably try out that mage deck, but I think it's a solid. It's another one of those shenanigan style cards, and I love those.
Okay. Next up, we have another neutral legendary, Octosari. 8 mana, 8/8, Death Rattle, draw 8 cards.
And it's a beast. So this is Twitch chat's favorite card. They want players to put it in every single deck. They want to see it played. They want to see it die. I've theory crafted some weird wild shenanigans where you send this over to your opponent with treachery and make them draw 8 cards. It's not a good card. It's not something you want to see off a random effect. 8 mana slots always been safe for Conjurer's Calling. Well, now it's not, because you do not want to have to draw 8 cards with this. There's not a good deck for this to come in, but you're going to see lots of videos with this card. It's going to be fun to watch.
Okay. Next up, we have a neutral epic, Mortuary Machine, 5 mana, 8/8. After your opponent plays a minion, give it Reborn.
So they compared this to Fell Reaver, and in the current meta, there's going to be too many taunts played, and you don't want to give them Reborn. I think in an aggressive strategy, or especially aggressive mech strategy, maybe this goes into the current Bomb Hunter. To be able to have a big 8/8 that your opponent goes, oh, maybe I don't kill it, so I get Reborn minions, but then you start magnetizing on it. Maybe it's good. Maybe in a deck that they feel like they have to kill it for 5 mana, it's good. But I don't see a lot of other applications other than that.
Okay. Next up, we have another epic neutral, the Mischief Maker. It's a 3 mana, 3/3 Battle Cry. Swap the top card of your deck with your opponent's.
So I love the flavor of this card. This goblin is doing the whole Indiana Jones theme, or they're swapping out the golden monkey with an angry chicken, and it's cute. It's funny. I don't think there's a lot of practical applications in the current meta. Maybe if there's a combo deck that takes a lot of pieces, like takes 4 or 5 cards to go off, and you get one of them and it just totally kills their plan. maybe you play this. Maybe you play it in a deck that has lots of small stuff and you don't care what they get. But you hope to get something better from them or kill their combo. Yeah, maybe a tech card. That'd be the only.
Would this work in the Rogue Quest?
No, because the Rogue Quest says add a copy to your hand,
and you're drawing it
it's
off
not,
the top of your
and
deck.
you're drawing. So
Gotcha.
it's not just have one.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I don't think it would work.
Okay. Next up, we have another epic neutral, the Dwarven Archaeologist. It's a 2-mana 2/3. After you discover a card, reduce its cost by 1.
This is to me, this is a sleeper card. A lot of people are talking about this card. It's a solid 2-mana 2/3, but in a deck that does a lot of discovering, like Mage or heck, nowadays every deck has some form of discover in it. Think about this with Rogue when they're discovering cards, discovering lackeys. So you're going to get a free lackey off of this. Your lackey's going to be free every time you discover a lackey. Yeah, this is a good card.
Mm-hmm. All right. Epic neutral minion Volpera Scoundrel. 3-mana 2/3 battle cry. Discover a spell or pick a mystery choice.
Yeah, so this is neat. The way this works is when you do the discover effect, you get 4 choices. Your normal 3 spell choices, which of course follow the discover rules and will give you a spell of your class. And then the 4th one is just a random spell. Now, I don't know, I haven't seen it enough, and I haven't seen any clarification if it will give you a spell outside of your class or not. I'm guessing it will not. I think it'll probably follow the same rules as Discover, but it will give you a random spell. The mystery choice is still going to be a spell. It won't give you a minion.
Okay. Another epic neutral history buff. 3-mana 3/4. Whenever you play a minion, give a random minion in your hand +1/+1.
I don't see this as a really good card. Hand buff just hasn't been that great anyway, so yeah.
Okay. Next up, epic neutral Body Wrapper. 4-mana 4/4. Battle cry. Discover a friendly minion that died this game. Shuffle it into your deck.
I don't think this is good. It has some weird applications. I'm not sold that it's a good card.
Okay. Next up is the Blatant Decoy, epic neutral. 6-mana 5/5, Death Rattle. Each player summons the lowest cost minion from their hand.
So I actually summoned a 10-mana 10/10 with Taunt with this because I had no other minions in my hand. So that made me think maybe there's some kind of weird shenanigans with this. Of course, it's a Death Rattle, so you don't control when it happens. I don't know if Doomsayer ends up getting played. Maybe you play this to put another minion in its place when the Doomsayer goes off. I don't know. Maybe too many weird fringe applications. It's probably not good.
Okay. Next up, the Conjured Mirage. It's a rare neutral minion. 4-mana 3/10. Taunt. At the start of your turn, shuffle this minion into your deck.
So Dexter was playing against Slissa, and she played this against him, and Peter Whalen's like, okay, well, I guess we probably just pass. We're not going to be able to clear it, you know. So they pass the turn, and it goes into her deck, and you, on Dexter's mic, you hear her audibly scream. She did not realize what it did. And Peter Whalen's like, I'm guessing she didn't know what it did. Because she clearly didn't like it. I think it's a bad card.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could see maybe playing it and then silencing it, so you just have a regular 310 minion. But
Yeah, but there's so many better 4-cost minions to
right,
silence. Now,
yeah,
the application on this is to stop a face attack from a aggressive deck hitting the board so hard. But in my opinion, if this was a 3-mana 3/10 that did this, or even like a 3-mana 3/8, drop the health a little bit or something, yes, to me that's a good card for that scenario. But at 4 mana, by that point, they're putting so much pressure. You need to do something that other than stall the turn.
yeah. All right, next up we have a rare neutral minions. Kartut Defender, 6 mana 3/4, Taunt and Reborn, Death Rattle, restore 3 health to your hero.
This card reminds me of some of the girls I dated in high school. From the neck down, it's beautiful. The 6 mana cost is just way too high. I think it was 5, or probably better yet 4. It would have been awesome. But 6 mana for a 3/4 taunt, by that time you need bigger taunt in a way.
Okay. Rare Quicksand Elemental, 2 mana 3/2, Battle Cry, give all enemy minions -2 attack this turn.
I mean, it's an aggressively statted, 2 mana 3/2 card for anti-aggressive. Because obviously, if you have board and you want to trade into your opponent's minions so that your minions don't die, you don't want to do that when you're playing an aggressive. You want to go to face.
Right.
So this doesn't stop their attack next turn. It just makes it so you can make value trades that turn. I just don't like it.
Okay. Another rare, the Wrapped Golem, 7 mana, 7/5, Reborn. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 Scarab with Taunt.
It's solid. I like it. It's not great, but it's a nice solid card.
Okay. Next up, we have the Bone Wraith. It's a common, 4 mana, 2/5, Taunt and Reborn.
So this is the mana and stat allocations I want for a Taunt Reborn minion. It's great. 4 mana, 2/5. It's perfect for that mid game. It's a nice, solid, statted body, and it has Reborn. They're going to really have to pump a lot into it. This may save you 2 turns against an aggressive deck. I like it a lot.
Okay. Next up, we have the Beaming Sidekick. It's a common, 1 mana, 1/2. Battle Cry, give a friendly minion +2 health.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is real good. I like it a lot.
Okay. Next up, we have a common Temple Berserker, 2 mana, 1/2. Reborn, has +2 attack while damaged.
This is better than I thought it was going to be when I played with it this weekend at the Fireside Brawl. So it dies and it comes back as a 3/1. It's just good.
Yeah.
It's just real good.
Okay. Common Serpent Egg, 2 mana, 0/3, Death Rattle, summon a 3/4 Sea Serpent.
We haven't seen a good egg like this since Agora. I know people will say Scarab Egg, but to me, that Scarab Egg is not as good as Devilsaur Egg. This is good. A 2 mana 0/3 with a 3/4 Serpent. I like it.
I like it as well. All right, the Bug Collector. It's a common, 2 mana, 2/1, Battle Cry, summon a 1/1 Locust with Rush.
I like the flavor of these locusts. Everything summoning locusts because you're out in the desert. You're at Oldham. It's one of the plagues. It's really cool. I like it. It's a good card. Solid.
Okay. Next up, common Candle Taker. It's a 3 mana 3/2 with Reborn.
This is about as neutral of a Reborn minion as you can get. I think it's good. It definitely goes in the Paladin Quest deck. So yeah, I like it. It's not great, but I like it.
Okay. The Golden Scarab, 3 mana 2/2, Battle Cry, discover a 4-cost card.
I like this a lot, and it's a beast. It plays right into your curve. I mean, 3 mana 2/2 is not great stat line, but you can immediately play a 4-cost next turn. I like it.
Okay. The Desert Hare. It's a 3 mana 1/1 battle cry. Summon 2 1/1 Desert Hares. So this is a lot like what was the 2/2 that summoned duplicate 2/2s?
Brian Kibler called this Doppelgangster.
Doppelgangster. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Because it's just like well, it's similar to Doppelgangster.
Right.
It's not just like Doppelgangster. So Doppelgangster summoned copies of the minions. So if you buffed them, they would get the buffs. This does not. If you buff this minion in your hand and you play it, it summons 2 1/1 hares that are this minion. So if you play this and get the 2 hares and bounce one of those in your hand, they will also summon 2 1/1 hares. But it doesn't summon copies of the hares. So it's a little less powerful. Obviously, it's a lot lower mana cost because Doppelgangster is 6 mana 2/2. This is a 3 mana 1/1. So it's a little less powerful in that element. But if you're going to do the Hunter Quest, you have to have this in your deck.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, common Spitting Camel. 2 mana 2/4. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to another random friendly minion.
I'm sure there's an application for this. I just don't see it.
Well, I mean, if it's the only minion on the board, it's just a 2 mana 2/4 that's... And 2 mana 2/4 is pretty good.
2 mana 2/4s, but, I mean... I don't know. If you're playing an aggressive strategy, you want to put other minions on the board, and if you want to put other minions on the board, they're likely going to be 1 health, so you're going to kill one of them. I'm just not seeing it. Maybe in some weird damage warrior, but that hasn't worked. I don't know. Maybe there's something. I just don't see it.
Okay. Next up, the Kobold Sand Trooper. 2 mana 2/1 Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero.
And this guy does not want to give you a hug. You see what I did there? Yeah. I think it's good when you're messing with death rattles and making death rattles happen. I think in that death rattle rogue, maybe there's some shenanigans there. Looks fun.
Okay. Next up, we have the Phalanx Commander. It's a 5 mana 4/5. Your taunt minions have +2 attack.
So in this taunt warrior that everybody's been trying, they checked this out, and it did a little work. But honestly, if you're buffing them in your hand, I think this gets the first cut. I think it doesn't make it. Maybe they decide to put a brawl in there, or an extra brawl, or another board clear or something. I just don't see it being a good card.
Okay. Common Faceless Lurker. 5 mana 3/3 taunt. Battle cry. Double this minion's health.
This is amazing. A lot of people complained about 5 mana 3/3. It's actually a 5 mana 3/6 because you're going to double its health. And if it gets any kind of hand buffs, it gets even better.
Yeah.
So a 5 mana 3/6 taunt, I'll take. There's been many times with Witchwood Grizzly that I've made it a 3/6, and I've loved it. So this is good right out the get go. You buff it, it gets incrementally better.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the Wasteland Scorpid. It's a 7 mana 3/9 with poisonous. I feel like it costs too much.
It does. Maybe this is to sweeten up the Conjurer's Calling 7 slot. I don't know. Yeah, it's just not good.
Okay. Next up, we have another common, the Pit Crocolisk. 8 mana 5/6 battle cry, deal 5 damage.
Yep. So Shaman can have Pyroblast. Because in the Shaman quest is proving to be very, very, very good. It may be the best day one deck that we see is what I'm suspecting. And if you finish the quest, you can pay 2 mana to double your battle cries and play this, and you do 10 damage to your opponent's face.
Yep. Okay. Next up, the Living Monument.
Huh?
10 mana, 10/10 taunt.
So where Feoris watered down the 10 mana pool for Conjurer's Calling, this is the first and only, if I'm not mistaken, 10 mana cost minion that has taunt. So a lot of people are running Sea Giant in their Conjurer's Calling decks, and the biggest problem with that is you're getting big minions and utility minions at the 10 cost slot. But you're sacrificing the fact that at Mountain Giant 12, you have a 50% chance to get a taunt minion, where at the 10 mana slot, you can't get a taunt minion at all. There are none. So this now allows you to get a taunt minion at the 10 mana slot. So I don't think it gets played in the deck, but for that alone, it's a good card.
Okay. And last but not least, the common Injured Tol'vir. It's a 2 mana 2/6 taunt, battle cry, deal 3 damage to this minion. I think this card's great.
Yeah.
With the Priest quest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you happen to get the Priest quest hero power off on this, it becomes a 5/9, because it will, if it's 2/3, it'll heal it to 2/6 and then give it +3/+3. Just on its stats alone, it's a 2 mana 2/3 with taunt once it does its damage to it. That's good value for 2 mana. So I think any deck could run this. And then you couple it with classes that can heal, like Paladin or Priest, and the value just goes through the roof. Mm-hmm. And then Priest, even furthermore, can use Embalming to give this Reborn and then heal it again. So, I mean, it's really good card. There are a lot of taunts are coming out this set. So it's going to be hard to do a board-centric, like OTK or big burst amount of damage. And I think they've been trying to implement taunts in a way that helped the meta in the past. I think this is the first time they've done it in a way that's going to be positive.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it. That's all the cards for Saviors of Uldum.
Wow, man. We actually powered through that. An hour and 15 minutes? Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
So, that's going to do it for this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you have not done so, and give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. If you are interested, we have a patron-only Discord that you can join for as little as $1 a month by going to patreon.com/heropower, where we are constantly talking all things Hearthstone and would love to have you join us. Well, I guess that's going to do it. You got any last-minute things you want to add, Zerotio?
No, I just want to say enjoy Saviors of Uldum. And more importantly, don't forget, I am Mike Danae's favorite. And when you finish your quest, don't forget to use your hero power.